And I know it wasn't announced that Caitlin Clark wouldn't play until right before, but this is a preseason game where Clark is not available, and yet...
You want to body slam me? Fine, I'll just hang 21 on you. That was essentially Sophie Cunningham's answer after Mystics rookie Kiki Iriafen delivered a flagrant foul that nearly sidelined the Fever's newest weapon.
This proves there is an agenda against the Indiana Fever. There is an attack agenda.
In a preseason game that was anything but friendly, the Indiana Fever sent a message. This isn't last year's team. Toughness. Unity. Fight. Even with Caitlin Clark sidelined by a nagging left leg, the Fever made one thing clear. They are done being pushed around. This was the birth of a new identity in Indiana. Sophie Cunningham, Lexi Hull, and Annalisa Smith, with a nod to Aliyah and Borna, showed they're not backing down from anyone. Not now. Not ever. I end this video. We're breaking down everything. The flagrant foul, Sophie's fiery response, the Fever's unshakable chemistry, and how the Mystics reacted after things got heated. If you're riding with Indiana this season, drop a spicy Sophie in the comments, because things just got real. Let's go.
It's the first time we're witnessing this. They're attacking Sophie Cunningham just like they did Caitlin last year. There is an agenda against this basketball team, and I'm calling it out right now. Better step in immediately. They better step in immediately. We better not be dealing with what we dealt with last year with Caitlin.
What happens when the face of your franchise is sidelined? For the Indiana Fever, it meant opening their preseason without Caitlin Clark, a major blow. This wasn't just any absence. It marked the first game Clark has missed in 5 years, stretching across her entire college career at Iowa and into the start of her WNBA journey. Head coach Stephanie White made the tough but wise decision to hold Clark out, citing what the rookie called a little tightness in her left leg. "We need to think long-term," White explained, opting to protect her superstar with a grueling season ahead, one that features 4 more games than last year. It was a smart call for the future. But in the moment, it left the Fever vulnerable.
Look, the biggest thing is we got to think long term. Like, we got to make sure that we're not putting Caitlin at risk for injury. We're not putting our team in a position, where we're thinking short term and not long term. It's a long season, 4 more games than last season. So we want to make sure that we're extra cautious and put her health and wellness first and foremost. And honestly, it's been one day at a time. How she's reacted to treatment, how she's reacted to workouts. So positive progress is being made, but we can't be short.
The first quarter was a nightmare for Indiana. The Fever fell behind fast, outscored 24-13 as the Mystics took control and never looked back. Missed layups, no rhythm on offense, and zero chemistry. The Fever looked disjointed and overwhelmed. The deficit swelled to 15 points, and for fans watching, it felt like the game was slipping away before it ever truly began.
The team came out very slow, very lethargic, very stuck in the mud, very dragging ass, didn't have energy to them, didn't have flow to them.
Picture this. The Washington Mystics sensed vulnerability and attacked it from the opening tip. Physical, relentless, and hungry. They set the tone early, muscling the Fever around and daring anyone, to rise in Caitlin Clark's absence. The Mystics smelled blood in the water, and for a moment, it looked like they were on their way to an easy rout of a Clark-less Indiana squad.
Stephanie White seemed frustrated. We were down 15. Stephanie White called the timeout, and she must have stuck her foot up her team's ass and said, you see this arena? You see all these fans that came to watch you guys? 12,461 people. They didn't come to watch you guys bullshit. They didn't come to watch you guys drag ass. Let's play some defense and let's get it together offensively.
Meanwhile, an unexpected hero stepped into the spotlight, Lexi Hull. Coming off the bench with relentless energy and hustle, she started to shift the momentum. Hull racked up 4 steals, wreaking havoc on Washington's offense, and chipped in 13 critical points to keep the Fever within reach. Kelsey Mitchell later praised Hull for doing the dirty work and bringing the spark the team desperately needed.
Hull looked the most confident I've ever seen Lexi Hull look. Lexi Hull looked the most confident I have ever seen Lexi Hull look, putting the ball on the ground, taking it to the rack, shooting threes, middies, turnaround fades. Whether they went in or not, we can get into that another day once the season starts. But the fact that she's confident enough in her game to where she's at least willing to try to do something to make the offense happen, to create points, to create confusion among the defense.
Despite the early struggles and a double-digit deficit, the Fever showed something far more telling: resilience. Caitlin Clark's absence wasn't treated as an excuse. It became a challenge. One by one, players began to settle in, find their rhythm, and lock in defensively. Slowly but surely, that once massive lead started to shrink, and the Mystics realized this wasn't going to be a walk in the park after all.
Sophie Cunningham and Lexi Hull, these two players. Sophie Cunningham gave us 21, Lexi Hull gave us 13. The Blonde Bombers is what they're calling them. We were down 15 in the first half. Why were we down 15? We cut it to within 3 at half.
How did the Fever stay competitive without Caitlin Clark? It wasn't about one player stepping in to replace her 20-plus points a night. It was about a collective response. Unexpected heroes rose to the moment, playing with grit, heart, and a refusal to fold under Washington's physical pressure. But that physicality? It was about to backfire, spectacularly. With the Fever starting to find their rhythm midway through the second quarter, everything shifted. In a moment that stunned the arena, Mystics rookie Kiki Iriafen delivered what can only be described as a full-on body slam to Sophie Cunningham with 5 minutes left in the half. The tone of the game changed instantly.
It's been announced that Caitlin Clark wouldn't play until right before. This is a preseason game where Clark is not available, and yet you probably...
This wasn't just a hard basketball foul. It was something straight out of a wrestling ring. Sophie Cunningham, Indiana's gritty new addition acquired in a 4-team off-season trade, had been quietly carving up the Mystics' defense. She was moving off the ball with purpose, creating space, and helping chip away at Washington's lead. Then came the moment that changed everything. The confrontation that ignited the Fever.
They have 10,000 people here and a real home court advantage.
Sophie Cunningham. There you go. I mean, she's right there saying, don't you do that. She's telling the rookie, right?
As both players fought for a rebound, Iriafen grabbed Cunningham and slammed her to the hardwood with a vicious force. The crowd collectively gasped, and for a moment, time seemed to freeze as teammates on both sides processed what had just happened. But then, like a spark igniting a fuse, Cunningham sprang to her feet, fired up, and immediately got in Iriafen's face. That was no ordinary foul. It was a statement. And just like that, the game would never be the same.
That's Kiki Iriafen, and I got to tell you, here we go with the smiling like you've done. I don't get it. This is the worst part of the WNBA. It is.
You don't do that. You don't do that. Cunningham's words rang out, crystal clear even through the broadcast. The officials rushed in, separating the two players, but the damage had already been done. After a brief review, they assessed a flagrant 1 foul against Iriafen, a call that, frankly, seemed almost lenient considering the brutality of the play.
I mean, yikes. Kiki, the new Kennedy. A lot of people not happy. Demon Sophie, yeah, she showed up. Look at this. They're celebrating that. Okay. I mean, it's crazy. Here we go again. Here we go again. She's yelling while Kiki's laughing in her face. Never seen a rook have a vet so rattled.
But the Mystics weren't finished with their targeting of Cunningham. Later in the game, Brittany Sykes delivered another unnecessary shove, sending Cunningham crashing to the floor once more. It wasn't subtle. It wasn't basketball. It was straight-up bullying. A clear pattern was emerging. Washington was intent on singling out Cunningham, trying to break her spirit.
Was another one right here. This was Brittany Sykes, and DeWanna Bonner got involved in this one. She did. Little standing on business.
The Fever's bench erupted. This wasn't the same Indiana team that had been pushed around last year. Dana Borner, another veteran addition to the squad, immediately stepped in to confront Sykes, sending a clear message. The Fever were no longer a team to be bullied. The new culture of protection and unity was on full display. The message was simple: mess with one Fever player, and you mess with all of them. What's most fascinating is how these incidents completely shifted the course of the game. The Mystics thought they were being tough, trying to intimidate their opponent. Instead, they awoke a sleeping giant in Cunningham and unified the entire Fever roster. The officials reviewed both incidents, assessed penalties, and the game resumed, but the dynamic had completely changed. The Fever were no longer backing down. They were fired up, and Coach White later described Cunningham as a dog, basketball slang for a player with unmatched fight and heart.
Yeah, Sophie's a dog. She just is, she's a competitor. She's versatile, so she allows us to do different things. Like, she plays with such a toughness. She's huge, and she's going to be for us all season long. But what she brings from an energy standpoint, she raises the level of play of everybody around her as soon as she steps foot on the floor. Hell, even on the sideline. I mean, her communication, everything. She's definitely an